Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, where today I'm going to run down my experience in Madrid, where I was last weekend. I'm going to try and do this as succinctly as possible, stage by stage, bit by bit, so you have basically see through my eyes or hear through my ears what's happened and how I saw things there. Of course, all views are subjective, so these are my personal takeaways. Others may have had others. I would recommend checking out videos from others that were there, such as Shane's Eurovision review, Paco Chico Toxico. I know ASC Silva was there, we met, and there were quite a number of others. Obviously, Wee Blogs was there, the big Eurovox and Eurovoix, I think both of them were there. ESC Plus was there. There were so many. I think you can see a lot of sources, but this is what I took away from the weekend in terms of the experience, the artists, their performances, and the overall vibe. I'm going to put a disclaimer here at the start. The last, let's say 3-4 minutes of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about pre-Madrid, the problems that I think a lot of YouTubers have experienced in terms of reactions or not to one or two specific countries in Eurovision. That I will explain at the end. If you can't wait until then and you need to hear that explanation now, I'll put timestamps. You can go straight there, listen to it. If you want to continue listening to the video, you're more than welcome to do so. If you don't, based on my explanation, no problem, that's fine. Just don't leave comments underneath, I'll just delete them, related to those specific issues. You can take issue with my opinions on songs, that's no problem. But yeah, otherwise, no. So the timestamp will be below. Just jump ahead to the end of the video where I explain why I am not covering those two countries. With that out of the way, move to the end of the video if you want to hear more about that. I want to talk about my experience at the pre-party. Before I do so, welcome to my channel. It's taken me 3 minutes to get here. Welcome back to those of you who have already been here. And for those of you that haven't, my name's Chris, I'm Irish, I live in Belgium, big Eurovision fan, and I'll be doing coverage throughout this season of various different parts of Eurovision, build-up, predictions, analysis, as we gear up towards the 7th of May, only just over a month away now for the first semi-final, and then right to the final on the 11th. So today I want to talk about my pre-party experience in Madrid. I arrived in Madrid on the Thursday night, quite late, so I didn't go and join others at the fancy dress party. I basically went to my apartment, I checked in, I went to bed. That was it. I got, this is my entry bracelet for, in general, Friday and Saturday night, but I also had a press pass, so I was able to gain press access on Friday and Saturday, but this was the first time I ever had that, like, officially. So I didn't really know what to do. So I just kind of, luckily I have a good friend over the past few months who's been so supportive and really helpful to me. I really appreciate it, and that's Shane from Shane's Eurovision review. I will link his channel down below, and also his review video of Madrid I will link at certain points of this video when I'm referring to it. And also to Paco Chico Toxico, who's also been like just such a, over this weekend in particular, really just such a gem of a guy, really helpful. Yeah, that really helped me on Friday and Saturday, especially Friday. My first ever interview was with Bambi on Friday, after they all came out and kind of did their posing on the, for all the photos, and then they went to the tables, and I was first to talk to Bambi, and that was my first ever interview, and I didn't really know how to set up like all the equipment properly, and I was like, I don't know what to do. But Paco like basically saved my life there, and like he was like, Chris, this is this and this, 2 seconds, done, fine. Oh, okay, you're good to go. And so that was, thank you so much, Paco. Muchas gracias. I really appreciate it. And I had such a great weekend overall with these guys. And girls as well, not just guys. There were a couple of girls, but it was male dominated. But yes, Friday we had after the photos of the artists as they kind of came out and posed, and it was clear some of them have practiced, and others are like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And especially funny was Yolanda from Portugal, who made faces the entire time because she was just like, what do I do? But like she was making funny like eye rolling faces and things like this, like not taking the mick out of the situation, but just trying to be funny for the people around her. And a number of artists were doing that, so that was really fun. But not all artists were there by that stage. And then of course Bambi comes out in their fish and chips outfit, and Nemo comes out like the excitable puppy that they are, and Mustii was just making fun of the entire situation. Of course, Mustii has experience with like acting, theatre, drama, Belgian drag race, etc. So of course, Mustii is going to be doing all the like dramatic poses and stuff, but in like a not, again, they're not mocking the actual photo phase. They're really trying to do funny things to make it a little more lighthearted for everybody. Because this is not, a photo shoot for Vogue, right? It's a pre-party, and everyone's there for fun and to listen to artists. So after that happened, basically timing-wise, everything was delayed so long, as always in Madrid. As always, I say, after 2 times being there, last year and this year. But basically we were left with in total about 30 minutes to really interview people. So Paco, Shane and I, we knew we had to choose our 3 people we were interviewing. We didn't actually tell each other who. I said my number one, Shane said his number one, and Paco said his number one, and they were all different. So we were like, okay, we're not going to cross over. So I went straight for Bambi. Paco followed, helped me, and this is why I say this guy is a legend. Like, he helped me set up there. It took maybe a minute, 2 out of his time, but it meant he lost his spot in other queues, so he ended up in the queue behind me for Bambi. Which is good, but I'm just so appreciative of that. So Bambi was the first one that I talked to. The interview is up. I will link it here. Go check it out, and you can see what Bambi and I talked about. Bear in mind, these are very short periods of time that you have with the artist. Bambi, that was the first interview I had ever done in my life. That's how it turned out. After Bambi, I went to Aiko from the Czech Republic. I have links with the Czech Republic, so I wanted to talk to Aiko. Aiko is the loveliest person. It was a very short chat. I have it ready. It should be uploaded already, and I should link it here as well. I hadn't uploaded it until today because I thought it might have been too short to upload, but it's fine. It's no problem. And then I joined the queue for Mustii, and the Belgian broadcaster delegation, there were 2 men, asked me, who was I with? And I said, myself. I just have my own YouTube channel that I just started. It's a kind of a brand new project kind of thing. And they're like, oh, great. Okay. So what you might want to know about Mustii is this and this. And I was like, no, I know, I live in Belgium, like I know about Mustii. And they were like, oh, you're one of the first to know. And I was like, well, I live in Belgium. Of course I'm going to know about the artists. I'm going to look into them a bit. So it surprised me a little bit that a number of people didn't seem to have background information on artists. And that actually came in very useful in general for me when interacting with them overall, whether that was on camera or not. Having that little bit of background information about the song, about the artist, really helps if you want to interact with artists. They are generally very receptive, at least up until the last week in Eurovision week itself. Then it's more difficult. But up until then, they're very receptive as long as you're respectful, and they're really keen to engage with fans, real fans of, and people that know their stuff, as in the artist's stuff, and maybe their background. So I interviewed Mustii. That's also done. I will link it up here as well. And the thing was that when Paco was doing this stuff like to try and help me with Bambi, Nemo walked past, and I was like, ooh. So I kind of jumped to the side, and I was like, Nemo, and they were like, yeah. And I was like, hi, my name's Chris. I have a YouTube channel. I'd love to have a chance to chat with you at some point, if possible, because Nemo was my fourth person, and I knew time-wise it was going to be difficult to get to Nemo, because I was like, everyone's going to go for Nemo. And Nemo was like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. And I said, yeah, no, because in September last year, I happened to be at a concert in London. Tay and Selena were performing at it. They're doing some covers, and also they performed Who the Hell is Edgar? And we ended up, a few of us afterwards, talking outside the pub for quite a while. So Tay and I had been talking, and Tay was saying that she had gone back to songwriting after Eurovision, etc., things like this. And then we had seen the tweet from Taya excited about one particular song, and I knew like the songwriting camp was in Switzerland, so I was like, it's got to be the Swiss song. And so I said to Nemo, I said, actually, I saw Taya from Austria in September in London, and yeah, I mean, seeing the tweets as well, I know how excited she is about your song. And they said to me, oh, you're Chris. And I was like, yeah. Yes, I am. I am Chris. And then Nemo was like, we have to talk. Okay, we have to talk. We have to set this up. So just come over to me. Come to me. Whenever. And I said, okay, great. Perfect. So then, right at the very end, after finishing with Mustii, I went to Nemo. And at that point, they were with one of the Euro something. I mean, Sinan from Wee Wee Blogs had been with Nemo for quite a while I was with Mustii, but by the time I got to Nemo, Sinan had finished and the next people had moved in. I thought I was in a queue of like 5 people, but it turns out all the people in front of me were working for this one organization, and I can't remember the name of it. It was Euro something. And they did the interview, and then the security guy kept coming over going, you guys, you all have to leave now. And at that point he knew I was not with them, and he was like, you out. And then the girl, bless her, she said, no, he's with us now. And the security guy goes like, yeah, but you need to leave because we need to let the people in for tonight's party. So I gave her my phone, and I went up to Nemo, and so we greeted each other. It was a really nice like chat, and Nemo has such good vibes. I mean, just gives off the best energy. And we chatted for a while, and then the security guy literally came, and like I had my phone back by this stage, and one of us and the other of us pushed us like, get out. And so Nemo was like, not angry because Nemo, they just don't seem to get angry, but it was like, okay, solution, come backstage with me. So I ended up like walking back to stage with Nemo to meet their manager and get contact details. Basically to set up an interview, like an actual sit-down interview, potentially in Amsterdam or at another point when we might cross paths, whether that be in Malmo or Amsterdam, don't know yet. Hopefully it happens and I can bring it out to you guys. That would be great. But turns out I messaged Teo when I got back, and I said, thank you so much for like mentioning me to Nemo. I mean, I didn't think that would have come up, and but thank you, I appreciate it. And because I had said to Taya that I was starting a new channel, but I mean, I didn't think she would remember it. She didn't remember it. Apparently she was talking about someone completely different, and she was like, I think there was a misunderstanding. And I was like, ah, okay, so I should explain this to Nemo in the email, that I am not who they think I am. I'm someone else. But funny misunderstanding. And but regardless, like the energy and really, really lovely person. And their manager too, lovely people. That was Friday in terms of interviews. After that, we had a party. Me, Shane, and a couple of Shane's, a couple of Shane's friends. We went into the town to have tapas, and then we came back. So we missed some things that we wanted to see, but not everything. So we still were able to, dance to Eurovision music all night, and I think I got to bed at like 5-6 a.m. And Saturday afternoon, woke up, ordered lunch, did some editing, straight back to Shane's, because the thing was that Shane's flat kind of became a headquarters for a number of us, because his flat was right next to the artist's hotel, and you'll see this if you'd watched Shane's vlog video and a number of his videos from Madrid, that basically we could drop our stuff there. So if we had equipment, like for example this, if I was like bringing this and putting it somewhere, then I could leave it in Shane's after like the press part and before actually entering for the show. So on Saturday, that's basically what I did. I went over, I think around 3, met up with those of us that were going in with press. I think 3 or 4 of us met in Shane's, and then we headed down to do interviews on the red carpet. I did not really have the energy. I was dead from Friday. I didn't have the energy, but I really enjoyed listening to what people were asking the artists, and also seeing and watching how comfortable artists were in that scenario. And they're like, I can say in general, there was not one artist that seemed aloof, that seemed unfriendly, that I would say, ooh, I would be careful about maybe approaching them. Not one. Last year there were, to be 100% honest, there were artists that I was just like, I don't really want to approach myself. Like I didn't have press at that point, but even if I did, I wouldn't have wanted to, because it was kind of intimidating with big groups of people around them. But even this year, so obviously Ollie Alexander, big star, UK delegation, there were 5-6 people with Ollie. But Ollie was so approachable to everyone. I mean, of course, he was directed in certain directions to people to talk to. But if he passed someone on the way who said, can we get a picture, Ollie? He was always really willing to do it. He just didn't get as far as where we were down the carpet, because it was like, okay, you've had your time off, because everyone wanted to talk to Ollie Alexander, of course. So we got to talk to quite a few people. Shane interviewed most of them. You can catch a lot of Shane's interviews on his channel. Again, it's the channel's link down below. I would advise watching the interviews. One in particular that I could not stop laughing. And the thing was, so you see Shane in frame in interviewing the artist, and the thing is, I'm like here in between the camera and Shane, and like I'm like, how loud is my voice? Like I hope it's not like, because I just could not stop laughing with Isaac from Germany, who is the funniest guy. I swear to God. The interview before he came to Shane, I'd also heard, and it was hilarious. That guy has such a sense of humor. So if you come across an interview where Isaac is being interviewed, or the screenshot of Isaac being interviewed with a golden microphone, watch that. I swear to God, I have never laughed like in this kind of scenario as much before. We just belly laugh after belly laugh with Isaac. What a guy, legend, and vocally, come on to that later, but incredible on the night as well. Also talked to Saba and her partner, and that was lovely as well. Very brief on my side, but Saba was just, I mean, as lovely, I think, as most of us have the impression that she is, and her partner as well. Lovely, lovely person. Um, and who else was there? So I talked and didn't record with Raven. And one of the things with Raven that I have been quite worried about, and so I was glad I got to bring it up, is the fact that a lot of people are perceiving Veronica as witchy, or a song about a witch. And I said to Raven, I said, I really hope that when people see your performance, they don't, well, first of all, I didn't say this, but I hope they understand in general the context of, like, you know, it's a kind of like, I don't know, a tragic drama that happened in real life, I guess, a historical tragedy. But that they get that you are not portraying a witch and you are not a witch, and that you are portraying a woman who was accused of being a witch and who was subsequently drowned and, if I understand correctly, burnt. And Raven was like, oh my god, thank you so much, because nobody gets it. Nobody understands that. They're like all talking about the three witches in the first semi, and I'm like, yeah, no. I'm sorry. Bambi is like actively witchcraft. You know, that's the persona. That's the you know, the artistry and the creativity is all coming from these kind of like yeah, Ouija pop. I mean, it's Bambi is really into witchery and witchcraft stuff. People talk about Luna. I think Luna's more spiritual. Personally, like in general, it's more like ethereal, and I would put Luna and, you know, and Raven kind of similar in that respect. I didn't get to talk to Luna, so I can't clarify that one way or another. But Raven was very much aware that she needs to convey a message that she is not portraying a witch. Yeah. Let's hope that that's possible, because, and I'll get onto it in a second, I have worries about Slovenia. So, let's talk about the actual show, the pre-party itself. Let me try and structure it a little bit. I will begin by talking about basically what stood out, my perception of the performances from the part of the crowd I was in, which was the very back, so I could see the whole of the crowd in front of me, not just a snippet. And at the same time, around me there were loud people and there were people that were not so loud, etc., as always. Finland opened, Spain closed. I don't want to talk too much about either of those because I think it's hard to categorize the reaction to them. Spain, especially on San Marino, because we were in Madrid and it was Megara and Nebulosa. Also, that applies a little bit to Italy. And so I don't want to get too much into those, because I don't know how accurate the perceptions I had will be when we go, for example, to the Netherlands next week, where I will say the same thing about Joost when he performs there. I don't know how accurate the perception of Joost, which I know is going to be the best received of the night, like Spain was, this pre-party. Yeah, I when you're in the country, of course, the artists in the country are going to have the most support. So otherwise, what were my perceptions? Firstly, I got my first winner vibes of this season. I've had thoughts of this country could win, but nothing is clicking with me of winner vibes, like for sure. And I got for sure winner vibes for one country, and I got potential winner vibes from another country. Neither of which were Italy, because I'm not talking about Italy because I don't want to judge it based on the reactions there. So I'm waiting for Amsterdam to get a better impression of the Italian, my impression of Italy and its chances. Those two countries, definite winner vibes. Switzerland, Nemo, without question. That performance, when you were in that crowd and you were actually around people who were visibly gasping, like in terms of like, whoa. I mean, you think it's good on the music video, and then it's brought to life with the same vocals, and you know, you don't have backing tracks so much like with Nemo, and it's just incredible, the range of vocals. Wow, wow. The other one that I thought was particularly good, biased perhaps, Belgium. I think it went on really, really well in the arena. It gave me potential winner vibes. I think it could do very well with the jury, like Switzerland. And then the crowd pleasers, Croatia. I want to talk 1 to 2 minutes about Baby Lasagna. Baby Lasagna, we all know, you know, how much pressure he's been under since, you know, being thrust into this whole Eurovision thing. And he's an introverted, shy guy, but also lovely, really nice, polite. You see it in him. Any interview he does, he's just a lovely guy. The performance, I think you can see it. If there are videos of Baby Lasagna, I was at the back of the crowd, so of course I'm going off my perception from the back of the crowd, but if there are videos close up, you can probably see. At the start, he comes on and he's kind of trying to pump himself up and get the crowd pumped up. He didn't need to do that because the crowd was pumped up for this anyway, but he didn't know that. So you could see him kind of like trying to like jump around and get energy into himself for the performance. And then he did the first verse, and maybe for the first minute or so, you could see he was like looking around, like, and you know, trying to gauge the crowd a bit. But he wasn't doing the mistakes in Dora of like looking for places to stand or anything like that. And the microphone placement was really good. Those weren't issues at all. But you could tell he was still not fully enjoying it, trying to, you know, make the crowd enjoy it. Then, at some point, I think it's about a minute in, and I think there's also a marker in the video where you can see he sticks his tongue out, basically kind of going, ah. And from that moment on, you see that he is no longer trying to, you know, make the crowd get into it. He is enjoying it, and he is having so much fun on that stage. And that's where we want Baby Lasagna to be at. That's where we need Croatia to be at for Malmo. And that's why, in my view, these pre-parties are so critical, especially for artists like Baby Lasagna, potential winners. Because this is going to give them the extra confidence they need, that they're, you know, what the hype that they're hearing is not made up. It's real. Everyone knows the song. Yes, everyone can sing along to it. And yes, after you finish the song, when you ask people to do the callback to you, you sing and they call back, they do it like loudly. That's when you start to kind of go, okay, I have a bit of confidence, like that I'm not just, you know, living in my own little bubble thinking, you know, people like my song. People are actually enjoying it. So yeah, obviously that performance needs a lot of energy, and that energy needs to come from the crowd. And you could see after a minute, Baby Lasagna got that energy from the crowd, and I think that performance just went like from good, solid, great song, but good performance to wow, like towards the end, really fun, everyone having a great time, including everyone on stage. I think this is a turning point for Baby Lasagna, Madrid Preparty. And I think we're going to see now probably less focus on the confidence issues and more focus on vocals, which I think are the remaining issue to be ironed out for Croatia and for Baby Lasagna for the Eurovision, and that's for juries. It's not for televote. It's for juries. Iron out some things in the verses and the vocals, and that's the best you can do. And whatever happens, what a guy, does Croatia so proud. just like Isaac for Germany, by the way. I said I'd come back to that. Isaac performed incredibly well. Vocally, I know that people do not particularly like the song. Isaac is very well aware of this, and one of the questions he was asked that I referred to, it was, do you think you'll be the one to get Germany off the bottom of the leaderboard? And he was like, well, I hope at some point Germany gets off the bottom of the leaderboard, but I don't know if it's going to be me. It was just so like self-deprecating and like so funny, and the way he delivered that line, it was just like, you have some charisma, and if he can translate that on stage, I think Germany could surprise some people with their result. Like, it could be a little bit higher than expected. I'm not saying it's getting like top, left hand side or anything, but Isaac has a lot of charisma, a lot. So I hope the Germans make use of that, because they have an incredible representative this year. And if you're German, you have an incredible representative this year. Just such a wonderful representative of Germany and the people of Germany. Raven, I also said I'd come back to. I asked at the end of the concert to a lot of people, basically their favorites and, what songs people were talking about, and a lot of names came up and songs. Slovenia was not once mentioned, even though Raven performed incredibly well. This goes back to my worries about them in that 9th spot in semi-final 1. It's the worst possible slot in the second half of the semi. Yes, thankfully that second half of the semi is a little bit weaker, but I really hope Slovenia are able to get the message and the staging of that song across, because Raven is such a talent. That song is incredible and it deserves to qualify for the final. I am just a bit worried about it being lost. I really hope I'm wrong on that. Likewise, relating to the first semi-final, you had the comparisons between Serbia and Portugal, the ballads. Obviously Serbia is in the death slot. It's not the death slot. 2nd, 3rd and 9th all have the same qualification rate. It's 40%. Watch Eurovision Tom's video. Eurovision Tom was with us, by the way. I should have mentioned that. Also. So 2nd, 3rd and 9th are the worst slots to have in the semi-final, sorry. So that's Serbia, Lithuania, Slovenia. Out of those three, Slovenia I'm most worried about. Portugal is second to last. And I asked everybody the same question after, between Serbia and Portugal, because the running order was similar-ish in that Serbia came first and Portugal came later in Spain and Madrid. And I asked around different nationalities, 7 different nationalities, from North to South Europe and West to not that far east, but relatively east. No one anywhere near the Balkans. Portuguese, Spanish, English, Irish, Finnish, different mix of nationalities. I asked, okay, out of those 2 ballads, which one did you enjoy the most, or which one do you remember the most out of them? Every single person said Serbia. Nobody could really recall Portugal, apart from thinking that the voice was incredible. Like, Yolanda's voice was incredible. And some of them remembered kind of feeling like they enjoyed the song and the performance. But Serbia just stood out more. I think it's because it has a slightly more hooky melody that's stronger and more in your face than Portugal. Portugal's very soft, like fado-esque, like soft melody kind of underlying things, like the grito. Portugal's running order really helps it, so I'm not necessarily worried for it. But I think it should give a lot of confidence to Serbians who are concerned that Serbia is in slot 2. Because everybody remembered Serbia. And it was earlier in the running order than Portugal, and people didn't remember Portugal necessarily. So hopefully to anyone that may be from Serbia or that region, it gives you some confidence that the second slot is not necessarily going to be a death slot for you. It wasn't for Armenia last year. I don't think second or third are not going to qualify this year from semi-final one. I think both are qualifying. That's where I see it as of now. Amsterdam will change, as in my overall thoughts. That's usually where I form my final kind of view on qualifications, will be Amsterdam. Brings me on to two final countries, and anyway, I haven't mentioned that we're performing at the pre-party. Feel free to ask down below about them, impressions, how it was received by the crowd, etc. Happy to do so. Switzerland and Belgium and Croatia were received incredibly well by the crowd. That's why they stick in my memory. UK, they were very smart. They had Ollie come out and perform King first, which got the crowd on side, and then he did Dizzy. And everyone's like, when you put the two side by side, the two songs, you're like, okay, Dizzy is not it. But I have a lot of hope, because there were parts of King that Ollie did struggle with in terms of singing. Dizzy not so much, and I think that's going to allow a lot of creativity on stage for Ollie. So I wouldn't worry too much about the UK. I think that Ollie will perform the hell out of Dizzy, and there's going to be a lot of theatrics, creative staging. There is not going to be a twirling platform. That was mentioned in the question. There is no twirling Dizzy platform for Ollie, so that's not happening. Other hints in staging, we got a few, but I'm not going to get into that now because I can't remember them. Finally, Ireland, Bambi Thug, my home country, the act that I just love so much. Bambi, to explain a little bit, Bambi essentially went into the pre-parties with the idea that they needed to save their best, vocals and a lot of surprises for Malmo to be able to kind of wow everyone in rehearsals. The problem with that approach is that when we got to Madrid, people went expecting crazy Bambi the Witch, scream, the end breakdown with the scream and the start like, I know you live in a lie, like Bambi style. But Bambi kind of outsourced a lot of it. The scream Bambi did, but very low key. The part that Bambi was really strong was on the chorus and on the middle eight. For Your Romance, I Beg, Steal and Borrow. That part, very vocally strong. But not on the screams and not on the parts that were the more shocking parts for people. And so I don't know yet if that has potentially backfired for Bambi. I hope that feedback for next performance in Amsterdam, London this weekend, will be to try to, let's say, bring a bit more of, even if you have to expend a bit more vocal energy, to give a bit more of that growly, like gothy metal screams. Because I felt like the first verse was not great. And that from what I heard Bambi do on the bar the night they won in Dublin, they sang it better on the bar than they did in the Madrid pre-party. So, yeah, I think that Bambi probably needs to up the game slightly in the pre-parties. Maybe Amsterdam, they will. They have a 2-week break before they go to Malmo after that, so maybe. But yeah, that's we all know Ireland is in borderline qualifier, non-qualifier. Half people predicting it will never qualify, half hoping it will, half, that's 3 halves, but whatever. We live in a world of 3 halves. So half thinking that it definitely will. So who knows what will happen with Ireland? I think we won't know until rehearsal week, but I think it could have been better in Madrid. So that is all on that. After that, we had just basically a party and after the performances, talking to people, and then again I directed to Shane's channel where Shane was walking back to his place and a friend of his had forgotten. I think a card for a taxi or something like that, or phone had run out of battery or something, and wanted to go to Shane's to get it charged, and so they ended up walking back with Raven, Boyan, Aiko, and Aiko's manager, and Boyan, who was the host of the night, by the way, asked Shane's friend, if his face was okay, and my friend was like, no, it's fine. He'd been like quite upset because no taxi would take him to his hotel, which was distressing in a big city, of course. But then Boyan was like, yeah, because that guy hit you really hard. Shin's friend was like, yeah, no guy hit him at all. But we had a great time, and like I said, I really want to say thanks to all the people that I met. It was such a pleasure meeting so many other YouTubers, so many casual fans that are just there having fun. Like, we have a Discord group that we all just chat about all the upcoming things and the news and the gossip every day. From Eurovision. Very, very nice and positive environment. It's not the Eurovision normal, Eurovision Song Contest Discord group. It's a much smaller group of Eurovision T Discord, which I'll link down below if I can. Join, you're very welcome. I'm a mod there with a few others, and then of course we have Shane, the Balkan guy, Laura Slavandik, Noosh, Paco, Chico Toxico, quite a few others that are also, there. And we basically chat Eurovision stuff, mostly. So it was lovely to meet people from that group also in real life as well. Particularly Zhao from Portugal, who cooked our food. You'll see in Shane's video again. When we ordered tapas and then had to run to the press thing and came back to Zhao cooking our food with his own Domino's pizza. He was still cooking our food himself. So that was a lot of fun. Okay, now is the part where I'm going to talk about basically the feelings of those of us that were there in Madrid compared to this past month on YouTube, and also talk a little bit about generally the situation that YouTubers have kind of faced in the past month with reactions in particular, and also looking forward a bit to the contest based on Madrid, how I see things progressing. So if you don't want to hear this about, specifically about the issue of YouTubers reacting or not to Israel and Azerbaijan, if you don't want to hear about it and the discussion about it, now is the time that I will say thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe, comment, and you're very welcome to check out some of the other videos, the interviews that I've done. And have a lovely weekend. And I will be reporting back from the next pre-party, and hopefully in the meantime have some chats with other YouTubers from the YouTube space about what we think is going to happen in the semi-finals and final, potentially. So thank you and goodbye to those of you that don't want to hear about this. Okay, so for those of you who maybe have stayed tuned, yes, my God, why can't I speak English half the time? So the past month has been very, very difficult for YouTubers in trying to navigate something inherently political, which is not, as a content creator, you kind of have to take your own decisions based on your own situations in terms of what you put out as content. And a number of factors can come into that, into you making your decision. I've come in for a lot of criticism for not ranking Azerbaijan and Israel, which I get. I've deleted the comments now because I'm just sick of it. But I have reasons for that. There are professional reasons I just cannot talk or talk about the situation. They're the professional reasons I can't. And some of us have jobs which mean that we are not able to react to a song that potentially when Eurovision comes, or to songs that potentially when Eurovision comes, a lot of media attention will be focused on. That's the reality of our situation. Others, and I'm not saying this doesn't apply to some of us as well, but others may have taken principled decisions, and I think it's for everyone to respect the content creator's right to put out what they want to put out. Whether they want to react to those entries or not, talk about them or not. For those that have the option to do so. I'm one who just doesn't. And I can't even tell you where I'm sitting on this. I can't. I can say nothing. One thing I can say is that when we were in Madrid, this was not an issue at all. And we felt this big relief, and we got our kind of enjoyment and fun and love of Eurovision back, which was really nice, because honestly the past few weeks have been pretty shit for a number of content creators. Having talked to a few in Madrid, not just the ones I've mentioned but others, I was in the press pool, there were a lot of them, and having heard what people have said, seen the artist statements as well, they're in very difficult positions. So there is a lot going on behind the scenes that kind of drains your energy from the actual fun of Eurovision. And we were just able to have a really fun weekend, enjoying music, the company of each other, and dancing and singing the songs we loved, and listening to the live performances. And that was fantastic. And in Amsterdam, I'm taking two friends. They're a Czech friend and a Spanish friend, and I'm really looking forward to it now. I was a bit apprehensive about the atmosphere, and I was also very apprehensive about Malmo in terms of how the atmosphere would be. After Madrid, I'm not. Yes, Israel and Azerbaijan were not in Madrid, so this was less likely to come up there anyway. But given how everyone behaved in general, the spirit of fun and happiness that there was, I think that, I'm going to, cards on the table, I'm going to be with a friend from Israel in Malmo. And, I was a bit worried for, making sure that he stays safe. And I know he was worried as well about, people potentially knowing his nationality. I don't think that needs to be a concern, honestly. I think people will support whatever country they want to support, whatever songs they want to support. But I have much fewer concerns about the security situation now than I did pre-Madrid, because that's all that's in your head when all you see are these bunch of negative comments one way or another, because you're reacting or not reacting to Israel or Azerbaijan. So yes, I will leave it at that. Ask for understanding for people from those countries. It's not from what I can say from my perspective is that I don't think any content creator, at least that I have talked to personally, has any problem with the people of those countries or the fans of those entries. I think the main issue is around, one, potentially their own jobs, their own professional lives, which is not necessarily YouTube. also concerns about the broadcaster. I mean, there's content out there about that already. So concerns about Cannes, and in particular in Israel, and how it came about that the lyrics of the song were changed. Again, as I said, I can't give a view, but I'm just explaining these are things that people have taken into consideration, may affect whether or not they talk about the songs. So yes, those of us that are not talking about those songs, it doesn't mean we don't like people from that country or we're racist in any way, but there are restrictions that you may not be aware of that we do have. And that's all I can say. And what I can say for the content creators that I have met, I'm not going to blanket them all with the same, like say the same thing about all of them. Not everyone's the same. Everyone has different reasons for things. But there is nobody that has anything particularly bad to say about the people of those countries. Any issues that they may have are strictly related to what is happening right now in Gaza, and also in last year in the music festival in the south of Israel, but also in Azerbaijan and Armenia. So yeah, it's a hard time for content creators. They're not geopolitical experts. We are not geopolitical experts necessarily. So I just ask you to take that into account and consideration. So I hope I've explained well. I would ask if you disagree or if you have any problems with this. I mean, I'm fine with you leaving comments below, but if they get nasty, that's when I'm just gonna delete them. I'm done with that. If you have specific issues, feel free to send me a message, question, anything on Instagram, which I will also link in the description below. My DMs are open. Feel free to come ask me anything, and I can probably be a bit more clear there as well if you really, really need to know why I can't talk about it. I hope that's not the case. I hope that you can understand and respect the decision taken by people. So I will end there. I might actually split this into 2 videos now that I see the length of this. One specifically on that, on this issue, and one on the pre-party. But we'll see. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for your understanding, and also wishing you a wonderful weekend. Lovely Friday evening, and wonderful Saturday and Sunday if you're going to also the London pre-party, which is happening then. And I will be back soon with more videos and maybe more interviews, possibly with Nemo, if we figure out this misunderstanding that happened. So thanks for staying tuned till now. Have a great day. Bye.